The Colorado Avalanche get back in the win column with a solid 4-1 win over St. Louis. Cale Makar was not sure if he was going to play. He did. Bo Byram, not sure if he was going to play. He did. We knew Alexander Georgiev was not going to play. And Ivan Prosvetov, whoa, a 1-goal output by him today. Impressive. A lot to talk about on this episode of Locked On Avalanche.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your sick host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure to follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live, and absolutely subscribe to our subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below. When you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one and become one of our special insiders where we get to your comments on different things, including games, like what's your take on the game, who's your player of the game, stuff like that, and we'll read that a little bit later on. All right, Kyle, yeah, I was on the verge of like, man, like I don't know if I can go tonight, but I'm putting in the work. The Avs put in the work. I got to put in the work. So kids, man, they bring the craziest stuff home, including sickness. You know this.
Oh boy, yeah. Do I ever.
So I mean, it made me feel a little bit better that the Avalanche got a win, right?
Yeah.
So a very solid, very nice 4-1 win against St. Louis. He had a good first. A so-so second, not a horrible second, but I think that was where St. Louis gave you their big push. And that was really all you're going to get from St. Louis. And I think the Avalanche kind of after the second was like, if that's all they have, then we can work around that. And we can just, they can't really do much than that. I felt anyway. They get a couple more in the third. And that's all she wrote. So I thought it was just a solid game for the most part.
It was a really, really good game. It's not quite to the 60-minute game that we've been talking about with the Avalanche. There was a couple moments of just, fight it out. And St. Louis really, like you mentioned, they really tried to push back and they tried to go with the goonery. And at some point, St. Louis has to realize putting Jordan Binnington out there is not going to help you against the Colorado Avalanche. He's not that factor anymore. And once the Avalanche know that, and you could tell by the piling on of goals, 4, my goodness, after 2 straight shutouts, 4 feels like 8. So it was such a good feeling. And honestly, to carry this momentum into Saturday's game against Vegas, and you have some days off, so everybody gets to rest with a win in their back pocket. It sets them up really good for that matchup with Vegas.
Yeah. And you're going to have Georgiev on what, 5 days rest? Something like that.
Vacation.
So that, I mean, God. But and I mean, it is all really on Binnington for St. Louis when you're up against a team like Colorado. When they're facing teams that are kind of more at their level, they'll have a chance. But when you play, when you're going up against Colorado and their style of play, it's just speed game. They beefed up their lines for this game. So they were ready for, I mean, I know you said they gooned it up a little bit. I don't know if it was really gooning it up or more just like, this is a division game. You're going to get some hits, right? So I thought for the most part, everybody was kind of on their best behavior. But the Avalanche were ready for it. They're like, no, we're gonna beef up our lines and we'll be ready for that. But we're still gonna play our speed game. And the Blues just can't keep up with that. They can't. Like you saw it. They don't have that offensive talent and that offensive ability to keep up with a team like Colorado. So in the end, it's all on Binnington. And when they can get those good looks on him, you're not gonna get that Mackenzie Blackwood performance day in and day out from goalies across the league. When you can keep peppering them and getting good shots, Avalanche were flying.
Yeah.
They were flying. They had so many times where somebody had the puck in the zone and they would wait for someone to just, they're coming straight through a lane. They'd, cross ice pass, great shot on net. You saw that over and over and over again. And that those plays will just break through eventually. And they did.
And it's rough watching St. Louis games now. They're a shell of what they used to be. It's, I guess we get to see Brandon Saad, which is nice. And there's no Ryan O'Reilly anymore. It's just a weird makeup of that team. And I mean, I always like watching Buchnevich. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But it's when St. Louis comes in and Binnington's in goal, it's not as scary or as intense as it used to be. And this was a good teeing off game for the Avalanche because they know they had playoff series against this team. They know how to play this team and take them out. And you start piling it on Jordan Binnington, you take him out of the game. Like this was a you knew what to do game. It's what we were talking about in yesterday's episode. You know what to do, and they went out there and executed. And walking away with 2 points sure feels good.
It's pretty amazing how everybody points to that Darren Helm goal in the playoffs and how the Blues have just not been the same since. And it's true. Yep. There's a lot of truth to that. Avs tonight on Binnington. This is over at Money Puck. Low danger shot attempts 26, medium 15, and only one high danger attempt for the Avalanche. So 15 medium chances is really, really good. Compare that to the Avs defense. And remember how we were saying, like, they can't rely on Prosvetov to win them this game. They have to play really good defense in front of him. The Blues, 36 low danger shot attempts, 8 medium, and 0 high danger shot attempts for the Blues. That's what you have to do that anyway. You doubly had to do it for Prosvetov, who's, his first game with the Avalanche. I'm sure there was a little bit of nerves in the beginning, and they were great in front of him most of the night. We put it up as our one of our keys. You can't have those turnovers. They did. They had a couple of them. Those are going to happen. It's not like you can get through an entire game, flawlessly without any turnovers, but they were minimal, I thought. And overall, they protected him.
And they not only protected him, but Prosvetov looked all right.
He did.
I was pleasantly surprised that now we could just trade Georgiev. Nathan McKinnon didn't get a goal. We could trade him too, free up some cap space. I mean, this team's set.
Yeah. No.
I was thrilled with Prosvetov and not buckling, especially in that second period where St. Louis pushed back. The team settled in and rallied around. We've seen this team around Michael Hutchinson and Pavel Francouz at times start to panic, and then they really cheat far back, almost sitting in the slot as an additional goalie. This team kept their head, and they kept pushing, and that, I think, all of that combined, it's a lot of really good things you could take away, and hopefully they can build off of. I don't know if we can carry 7D for the rest of the season, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, let's get into those new those lines. They were in practice, and they pretty much how they were in practice is how they panned out in the game, minus 2 new acquisitions that they got in the offseason. So we will discuss that next. First up is Sleeper. Kyle, is there a better app than Sleeper for daily fantasy sports? Come on.
Absolutely not. All in one place, all you'll ever need.
Can't beat it. And a new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. On the Colorado Avalanche, who do we got? Cale Makar, could he get 100 points? Sure. Nathan McKinnon, 50 goals, 60 goals? Who knows? And could the Colorado Avalanche hoist the Stanley Cup again? And you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. So we got a big one coming up here, Kyle. It's against Vegas. Who we liking for daily fantasy against Vegas?
I was quiet about him earlier, but I think Nathan MacKinnon is due to go off.
The superstars get up for the big games. Because he's got some rest, I'm going to say Alexander Georgiev.
Ooh.
Go with him. So all you have to do is pick whether studs like Alexander Georgiev or Nathan MacKinnon will record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in a given game. So use that promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That code is LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleepers terms of use for details and locational availability. All right. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. As always, that is always appreciated. Tomorrow we are planning on doing I know it's we're already into November, but we always like to go over that month's schedule at the beginning of the month. So we will be going over the Avs November schedule. October's in the rearview mirror. So we're looking ahead to November. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. Continuing on with the Avalanche and the Blues, the 4-1 victory. We got those new lines that we saw in practice, Kyle. So you had Riley Tufte on that second line. It was the Redwood line, I guess you want to Redwood, Bigfoot, Big Sequoia.
Yeah, I like Bigfoot. Since we'll never get the Yeti mascot back, I guess this is...
There you go. Yeah. So you had him, Johansson, Val Nichushkin on that line. So that was your second line. Logan O'Connor was up on the third line. You had Kurtis MacDermid on the fourth line, made his debut. And then no shows was Tomas Tatar and Jonathan Drouin. Thoughts on all that?
Drouin, maybe understandable. I don't know. Like we said yesterday, this feels very new hooky. I don't know if this is the way to fire Drouin up a little bit. Say, hey, we gave you the keys. Like, come on, Avalanche fans, we've heard this story before. We gave you the keys to you're now on the fourth line. This is all new hook part 2. Tatar was interesting.
Yeah.
Because he's also been elevated to the top line at times, down to like the third, sometimes the fourth. I don't understand why we would scratch him. But then
I don't get that one.
But then when you look at Kurtis MacDermid, he logged 5 minutes, 32 seconds of ice time,
which is his max. You're not getting more than that from him. So
you're telling me 5 minutes and 32 seconds of MacDermid is worth more than, let's say, 25 minutes of Tatar? I don't know.
25 minutes. I mean,
give me 20 minutes. Give me 15.
He'd probably
whatever line you want to put him on.
Yeah.
Like, it's still more than 5, more than MacDermid, and more possibilities of what you can get. I don't know what they were thinking there, but hey, it's a win. It worked. But I don't know if that's the same roster you're going to take into Vegas.
I was just going to ask you that. Like, what do you think it stays the same? Do you think one of these guys come back? Do you think both of them come back? What do you think? Do you think Tatar comes back and Drouin is still on the sidelines? This could go in a number of directions.
Yeah, if I was Jared Bednar and I was a silver fox on the bench looking incredible in a suit, I would say we're going back to the opening night roster for Vegas, because I don't know if anybody's looked at the standings lately. Vegas is a very good team, and you want to have a very good roster. No more blendar, as we've been saying in the YouTube comments. Like, you can't get fun and creative with these lineups. Like, what works. I would go with your standard opening night roster.
I don't think you can go with MacDermid. I don't think you can. Like, Vegas is going to play tough.
Yeah,
they're going to play a tough game, but Vegas is in a position where they want to, keep collecting points. And I just don't, as much as I despise that team and that franchise, I don't feel like they are going to come out and play this goonery game where you need someone like Kurtis MacDermid, who doesn't do anything anyway.
Nope.
In that regard. So no, I think you need as much talented position players and skilled position players as possible. He's not it for this game. If you want to put him in that Blues game, okay. Like, I can see it. I don't really think, like, what you're losing from Tatar and if you're whatever you're gaining in Kurtis MacDermid doesn't really affect you in that game. But I don't think you can play him in Vegas. I really don't. So I think Tatar comes back. I thought Riley Tufte did okay.
I did too.
I thought he played fine. He had 4 shots on goal and some really good rips at the net too. I think one logged like 92 miles an hour, something like that. So I think Jared Bednar has learned his lesson. You mentioned Alex Newhook, right? I think Jared Bednar has learned his lesson to not say something like we're giving him the keys until the trade deadline. Because look what happened there.
Yeah.
And look what's happened with Drouin. So he kind of learned like, no, like we need production immediately. And if you're not giving it to us, you're on the sideline. Maybe not forever, but you're going to have to just sit out. And maybe that's the best thing for Drouin right now. And when he comes back, if he comes back, maybe, he can just step back from it for a little bit, keep working on whatever he's got to work on, which is a lot, and see what happens the second go round. But I would say Tufte stays, MacDermid goes back on the sidelines, and Tatar comes in for Vegas.
I absolutely agree. You have to set this team up for success because this is a nice little start. Like 7-2 is nice to look at on paper, but Vegas is where you learn what this Colorado Avalanche team is going to be.
Definitely. Looking at some of these stats here for the Avs, you had Ross Colton with he got the scoring going. I think it was Easton in our subtext yesterday.
You're right.
He predicted he said they would get 4. Didn't he say it was 4-1? And he said, God, it was Colton was 1. It was Rantanen was another. Let me see if I can bring that up quickly. I got it right here. Let me see. So he said Colton, Nuke, Mac, and Mikko. So we got 2 out of 4. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad, Easton. Impressive. So you had Colton get the scoring going, and then you had Mikko on the power play. Lehkonen with 1, and Bo Byram got 1 in his 100th game with the Avs. Very pretty goal there. Nice pass from Nathan MacKinnon. So things were cruising for the Avs. Like I said, you had that second that was a little iffy. Blues came back a little bit, but the Colton goal was just a thing of beauty. Tough goal too. It was a one-on-one battle that he won. Got it by Binnington, and then he just away from there.
Yeah, this team's played 9 games, and it's weird for us to say that is a textbook Ross Colton goal, but that's exactly what that was. That was just a gritty goal, and then Mikko with the firepower, Bo with a much needed, like he's continuing to get better.
He's finding his game.
Yeah,
he just needed a few, so which happens. Yeah,
I was very, very excited to see that.
Sammy G, a wide open net, and he hits the crossbar. Couldn't do that if you tried again. Maybe someone like Nathan MacKinnon could, but
you see what happens when I say Sammy G is a treat. He hits a crossbar. I say Lehkonen is a trick. He goes and gets a goal.
Yeah, you had Sammy G was a +2 on the day, and again, I know plus minus is not the most perfect stat, but for someone that a lot of people want to I don't want to say nitpick, that's the wrong word, but focus in on his plus minus. It's nice to see him have a plus. He had a very, very nifty, like shifty move that almost led to a goal. Kind of did his little tornado, and then peeled again on the inside, right in the slot. Just a beautiful move by him. When he gets like that, and he's just confident, his skating ability is very, very impressive. And I think it's very underrated, how his skating ability and his puck handling. So he was feeling it last night for sure.
Yeah, and you love to see it, and you love to see that confidence, and you could feel it in his defensive pairings too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right, we have a sound check to get to, and it's late. So a lot of our subtexters are from the East Coast. So we did get a couple in, so we will get to those as well here in a minute. But right now we have Indeed, and when you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could do the same thing with your business team? If you're building a roster to win the league, then you need Indeed, and Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. So don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. And if you hate waiting, Indeed's US data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match their job description the moment they sponsor a job. And Indeed knows that when you're doing everything for your company, you can't afford to overspend on hiring. So visit Indeed.com/locked on to start hiring right now. Go to Indeed.com/locked on. Indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application, pricing not available for everyone. And if you need to hire, then you need Indeed. We are also brought to you by FanDuel, the one and only sports book that you should be have on your phone right now and use it as your number one sports book. You can score early this NFL offseason with FanDuel, America's number one sports book. Right now, new customers get a $150 bonus bet with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use, wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over/under, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/locked on and kick off this NFL season, which is like halfway over already, Kyle.
I know.
Pretty
It's
crazy.
added an extra game and it's still blowing by.
Nuts. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. All right. So we had, let's see here. We have Vargar who wrote in. So I'm just happy they put the last few games behind them. And doesn't that just make you feel like,
Yeah.
I know like sports are so like in the moment and what's happening right now. And man, there were some people on social media, and I was getting emails from people just, what's wrong with the Avs? And it's like, they just had a bad couple games. They didn't play well, but we talked about it. Do we feel like this was going to like play out over the course of a season? I just feel like this team is better than that, that you're going to see that, back-to-back shutouts throughout the rest of the year. No, I think this team's better than that. But you go out, you get a win like this. Doesn't matter that it was against the Blues. If it was a struggle, if it was a 1-0 struggle and you're not really generating offense, maybe we're having a different conversation here. But you go out, you put 4 on them. You could have had more. Jordan Binnington had that kind of boneheaded play where you could have cashed in on that. And he did make a couple nice saves. So you could have had more, but you do. You go out, you take care of business, and then those 2 back-to-back shutouts kind of go a little bit in the rearview mirror.
Until Saturday.
That's like the real test.
Yeah, that's the real test. It does put those like the bad taste in your mouth over the back-to-back shutouts. It's gone. The Avalanche clearly had the momentum in this Blues game, but you know what's coming up.
He goes on to say, in the words of Mark Crawford, there we go. Our top guys were very top guys tonight. Good to see Makar and Byram play and be productive. I think you got to leave Mac, Mikko, Lecky, Matt, Makar, and Taves together as your top 5. And Prosvetov looked better than his career numbers would indicate.
Yeah.
I was watching Cale Makar like a hawk because I was like, is he just out there just gutting it out? And he really shouldn't be. And should he have taken a day off just to, give a couple extra days of rest before this Vegas game that we're all looking forward to? And I know he's not built that way. And I feel if he's like 70%, he's going to go. And as the game went on, you could see that he's like, I'm fine. Yeah. And he was I think he took a couple shifts in the beginning just to get into the flow of the game, see how I feel. And once he got hit a few times and made some cuts, he's like, we're good to go. And he just said, I'll take it from here, gentlemen. And those times where you see Nathan MacKinnon take over a game, I don't want to say like he took over the game, but he, like, every time he touched the puck, he got that look of, I'm going the distance here, and follow me, boys. Follow me to freedom. It was great. It was great. So he's okay. I'm convinced he's okay now.
Oh, thanks, Bednar, for I could have used that sleep. I was stressing. If it was Bo and or Kale.
Right.
It was neither.
He tricked us. It's like he knew what he was doing. Like,
On Halloween.
that's true too. I think about that, but he probably, I don't want to say maybe he knew and just throwing that soundbite out there to throw it to the Blues so they don't really know, but doesn't matter. Either way, they were both back and they both looked great.
Yeah,
they both looked great. So, all right, let's get to our sound check. We'll wrap this thing up with our sound check. After every game, Kyle and I pick a song that summarizes the most recent game. These songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify. Just search LOA Soundcheck, and this is volume number 3. So what do you have for this game, sir? Avalanche and Blues.
The super group that forms every decade. That would be Them Crooked Vultures. I own.
Gotta love them.
Oh man, I love them.
Gotta love them.
I think they're getting ready to gear up for a reunion now.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Dave Grohl has mentioned it. Who is a member of this said band? But they have a song called Scumbag Blues. And
it's like the greatest.
It's a great, again, I'm very vibey with my songs. You listen to this, it's very vibey to the action that we witnessed last night in that Blues game. But I mean, it's the Scumbag Blues. Those jerseys roll out there. You see Bennington. You're anticipating something goofy. It fits.
By the way, Prosvetov also wore number 50. So we had the better 50 last night. And always will.
Easily.
Yeah. I kind of followed you that you sent me that, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go super group as well. And I went with Velvet Revolver.
Ooh.
Yeah, the old Scott Weiland Guns N' Roses mashup. And the name of their song is Sucker Train Blues.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going with. We have a super group blues rock songs for you on this episode.
Because the Avalanche super group got back together and won a game.
There you go. Which is always wonderful. I'm telling you, like,
minus Tatar and Drouin.
Yeah. Hey, they're still part of the team. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, like I just felt like crap all day long, and it was just up in the air whether I wanted to record. And then when they got the win, I'm like, all right, let's do it. I feel a little bit better. So
yeah, I've been dealing with the externals of sickness, and I was like, you know what? I needed this game. Let's go, baby.
Right. Sets up the weekend nice. So
it does.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about that schedule and whatever else we get. I know we said we're going to talk about Paul Stastny, so we will do that as well.
Yes.
Got to give him some love. All right, that's going to wrap it up. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, and I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Back in the win column, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.